The rivalry between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton is quite compelling. The two drivers have clashed a number of times while on track. What are the reasons behind the frequent crashes between these drivers? Stay tuned to find out. The rivalry between Verstappen and Hamilton in 2021 can be likened to a classic tale of two knights engaged in a fierce jousting match. Verstappen, the young and daring challenger, armed with the latest weapons and riding a powerful stallion, sought to overthrow the aging and wily Hamilton, who has seen it all and knows every trick in the book. From the moment Verstappen's fiery talent ignited the F1 scene with Toro Rosso back in 2015, the anticipation for an explosive confrontation with the sport's established legend Hamilton was palpable. Fans held their breath, waiting for the inevitable clash between the rising star and the reigning champion. However, it wasn't until the 2021 season that Red Bull's engineering prowess finally birthed the car capable of matching the Hamilton-led Mercedes team, setting the stage for a showdown that would shake the entire motorsport world. Before the 2021 season, there were glimpses of the battle that was to come. Verstappen diving past Hamilton to win in Malaysia 2017, their brush in Bahrain 2018 that gave the Red Bull driver a puncture, Verstappen's off after being suckered into making a high-risk passing attempt in China the same year, their battles in 2019 at Monaco, the Hungaroring and Interlagos. This slow burn build up to 2021 meant the pair already had a storied history as the foundation of their rivalry. The Hamilton-Verstappen clash was not just a battle of skills, but also a clash of generations. Hamilton, the seasoned veteran, had already proven himself to be one of the greatest drivers in F1 history. Verstappen, on the other hand, was a young upstart, brimming with talent and hungry for his first championship. As the season progressed, the rivalry between the two drivers intensified. There were moments of pure brilliance from both Hamilton and Verstappen as they pushed themselves and their cars to the limit. The world watched in awe as they raced wheel to wheel, often just inches apart, exchanging blows like heavyweight boxers. The drama reached a fever pitch at the British Grand Prix, where Verstappen was leading the race and defending his position from Hamilton, who was trying to make a move on him. The two drivers collided at Copse Corner, with Verstappen crashing into the barriers and suffering a 51G impact. Hamilton was given a 10-second time penalty for causing the collision, but went on to win the race. The Dutch driver was lucky to escape serious injury, but the incident set off a storm of criticism and accusations, with Hamilton accused of dangerous driving and unsportsmanlike behaviour. But the drama didn't end there. At the Italian Grand Prix, Hamilton and Verstappen were battling for position on the first lap. Verstappen's Red Bull made contact with Hamilton's Mercedes as they entered the first chicane. The contact sent Verstappen's car over the top of a curb and onto Hamilton's car, with the Red Bull's rear wheel landing on Hamilton's helmet. Fortunately, Hamilton was not injured, and both drivers were forced to retire from the race. They clashed again in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. This time, Verstappen was penalised after his attempt to let Hamilton pass resulted in excessive braking, ensuring that the pair headed to the season finale in Abu Dhabi level on points. There, the controversial circumstances surrounding the way the race ended and the last lap pass Verstappen pulled off at Turn 5 created the most dramatic flashpoint of all. Most of the incidents occurred during 2021, but at the penultimate round of the 2022 season, which Verstappen has dominated while Hamilton was largely absent from the lead fight due to the deficiencies of the Mercedes W13, they crashed again at the Brazilian GP, which George Russell eventually won. What could have been responsible for these recurring crashes? The 2021 season was one of the longest in F1 history. The title battle raged across 22 races, from the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix to the last lap in Abu Dhabi. That made it a conflict of enduring intensity, leaving both the drivers and their teams drained, run ragged, and occasionally saying and doing things they would regret. Sports can create unique pressures, especially during battles between great athletes. In this particular 22-part rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen, they finished in the top two positions 14 times, and the points lead changed hands 5 times. This intense competition tested their limits, not just in terms of speed but also endurance. The competitive swings meant that the roles of predator and prey were exchanged repeatedly. This was one reason they clashed frequently. A great sporting rivalry isn't just about two brilliant athletes, you also require a clash of styles and some key points of difference in strategy. Even before the season, the fascinating question was whose approach in battle would pay off more often. While Hamilton's incisive overtakes were part of what helped him make his name when he first onto the F1 scene in 2007, like all drivers, he evolved over the years. Hamilton is known to assess the risk and reward in a battle when chasing a championship. He often avoided potential clashes to ensure he could fight another day. But this year, he showed a willingness to deviate from that strategy. Verstappen utilizes an aggressive approach. It's a description he dislikes, but which accurately captures the perfectly legitimate strategy of going for every opportunity that presents itself. After all, usually it has worked for him, although perhaps what happened in Saudi Arabia showed that it can sometimes backfire. Last year, Verstappen was asked if it was accurate to describe his racing style as uncompromising, particularly with Hamilton, given their run of incidents. The Red Bull driver replied, "Well, I have to be careful what I'm saying here, but with everyone I've been fighting this year, it's been really hard, aggressive battles, and we never really came together. Somehow, with Lewis, it's a different story, and I honestly don't understand. Like, this year, okay, we haven't really had a lot of battles, but Brazil, we got together. It was not my intention that we crashed. I got the blame for it, which I didn't find fair. If it would have been more of a racing incident, that I could live with. But I don't understand. Maybe it's just a generation thing, that we understand each other better. We are racing nicer to each other. I don't get it, but I don't feel like I'm doing anything different to Lewis or to the other drivers in terms of how we're racing." Outlining why he feels he needs to be careful discussing the topic of racing Hamilton, Verstappen said, "Because in England, this can very quickly be received as criticism. And then I'm being called out on it. I always respect Lewis a lot for what he has achieved in the sport, but that's why I don't really understand why we cannot really race like I've been doing with the others." Of course, everyone is different in their approach. I know that Charles is a bit different to George or to Carlos or to Checo or whoever. I do have to be a little more careful with that because immediately it's really taken as criticism and then people start to hate on you. Well, that's not my intention. If Mercedes provide Lewis Hamilton with a car capable of fighting for the Drivers' Championship, Max Verstappen expects his 2021 title rival will be back in the thick of the title fight. Many are predicting the battle will reignite this season, as it seems unfathomable that Mercedes won't recover from last year's troubles, once again setting Verstappen and Hamilton up on a collision course. Sky Sports' Craig Slater asked the Dutchman if he believed Hamilton is still a dangerous threat and was quick with his reply. He said, "Of course he is. He's one of the greatest drivers ever in the sport. If he has the car to do it, he can fight for the title again. It's the same for George, for Charles, it's the same for Lando. If you gave them a car capable of winning a championship, they can. If Verstappen wins the 2023 title, he will become just the 5th driver in F1 history to claim a championship hat-trick, with Hamilton also on that particular list." The 25-year-old would emulate Juan Manuel Fangio from 1954 to 1957, Michael Schumacher from 2000 to 2004, Sebastian Vettel from 2010 to 2013, and Hamilton from 2017 to 2020, claiming 3 or more championships in a row. But he is more focused on the team delivering a good car. What's your thought on the Hamilton-Verstappen rivalry? Will we see some flashpoints between the two in the 2023 season? Let us know in the comments section below.